So the other week I managed to get out once again with my good friend Rob on the F900R, BMW's brand new large-ish capacity naked roadster. It's quick, it's pretty, and it's good value for money. What's not to like?
Can leave Rob faff around with his cameras, enjoy that. There is nowhere to put that. There is nowhere. Say goodbye to a camera. Bye, GoPro. It does. I think it's the airbox on the front. Okie dokie. Time to enjoy semi-twisty roads on a semi-clear day. Hopefully not too busy. But we'll take what we can get. It's got plenty of power. I think it's around 105. It's over 100 horsepower anyway. For a just shy of 900cc bike. I guess, is this like the middleweight class now? It is pretty light, to the feel anyway. Parallel twin with a 270-degree firing order to make it, or so they sort of described, feel or respond a little bit more like a V-twin. Hello mate. Looking fine on that thing, honestly. It's been a joy sitting behind that bit pillar, because that thing is absolutely gorgeous from the rear. It's got such a nice progressive smooth power band. The throttle's nice and even as well. Doesn't really matter what you're on, even the town stuff wasn't jerking around. Very smoothly applied. I think it does, although I'm not looking at the clock too much while I'm accelerating, pick up to 7,000. I can see a big thick white line up to 7,000, which I assume is BMW's way of letting you know that that's where it's making its peak, and then obviously it red lines just past 8.5. I don't know that I'd call it a strong engine necessarily. It feels pretty lightweight. It doesn't feel to me like a 900. It's not raucous, it's not scary speed. And realistically, it's, you know, happy, content at 70 miles an hour. Obviously it'll go higher, but it doesn't feel like it desperately wants to, which I'm classing as a good thing, because this is a road bike and you don't really want to be doing track speeds on the road. It feels super even as well. I think the weight feels pretty centrally located, very well balanced and poised. That's what I mean when I say it is clinical, which you can take one of two ways. You can take it as your insult, or you can take it as a compliment, because it's doing everything really with consummate ease. No stress, no drama. It's not frantic, it's not frenetic. It feels like it breathes free and easy. And it sounds good too, actually, which I'm going to put down to the airbox more so than the exhaust solidly, just because I know how restrictions limit how loud bikes can get. Oh, we're both breathing a little bit easier, aren't we? Being out of London, the two of us, fresh air, blue skies, cracking day. Bye bye.
Let's start off with some specs so we know what we're dealing with. We've got an 895cc parallel twin that makes around 105 horsepower and 92 newton meters of torque at 8,500 and 6,500 revs, respectively. More than enough for a bike that weighs around 219 kilograms, all good to go. It's not super intimidating, but believe me, it is quick.
Let's have a look how she accelerates.
Suspension is non-adjustable on the front and adjustable for preload and rebound on the rear. And if you go for the SE version, like the one that I was sat on, it has electronically adjustable suspension on the rear, which is quite an impressive touch. It has a trail of 105mm as well, so the steering was reassuringly sedate at times for smooth, consistent cornering stability. Brakes are of course Brembo. 320mm discs on the front with 4-piston radial mounted calipers, and 265mm on the rear with a single piston caliper.
Brakes were Brembo up front last time I checked, and they work really well. Decent amount of feel. I think you have adjustable levers on it. You can buy different handlebars for it from BMW. You can customize your riding position quite substantially to really get it in line with yourself.
It's almost irrelevant talking about comfort since it is as adjustable as it is. I highly doubt you're going to find this an awkward place to sit. It's got adjustable levers, a high bar option, and 6 different seat height settings, with lower or higher suspension kits as well, so it ranges between about 775mm and 870mm apparently. It is your typical sit up and beg naked sports bike position.
Let's see what it's like. We've got it set in dynamic for both suspension and for rider mode. I don't actually know what the difference is supposed to be between road and dynamic. I've been playing around all day trying to see if I can tell what sort of difference that makes, and it isn't huge whatever it is. You've also got rain mode, if you can hear me over this wind. Self-explanatory. Dips off a little bit of the power for when it is slippery out. It's also, quite usefully, got cruise control, which is nice. You click that over, which engages it, and then you just set it whatever you're at. And you can up or down it, you've got a little paddle up and down, which is always much appreciated. One, to have cruise control, because there's a lot of very boring roads that are unavoidable, and 2, that you can adjust it rather than having to just get the speed right and set it. Takes the stress out, you know?
The switchgear is well laid out, but dare I say slightly cheap feeling at times. Easy to use though. We of course had the SE on the day, and even the cavalcade of switchgear that bike has wasn't confusing. It had rider modes, suspension settings, and cruise control, which you had to flip over to engage like you were accessing nuclear weapons. I quite like that. We also had keyless ignition and an electronic steering lock, which I have to admit, I kind of miss.
So because this is the fancy spec'd up one, we have a quick shifter as well. For town stuff I didn't use it that much, and for even rev stuff I didn't do too much either. More when you are looking to get a hustle on. It does require a certain amount of force, so it's not the smoothest that I've tried, but it's still useful. It's got a really light clutch when you are changing gear yourself manually with your left hand, which I have to say I appreciate. So the combination of the two means that gear changes and town riding on this thing is, well, I hesitate to say a joy, because town riding is never a joy, but it's not arduous, it's not a pain in the bum.
Then comes the price, and for what you get with this bike, it represents very good value for money. It starts at £8,660, which for its class is good. Word of caution before you get really excited is that BMW love an optional extra, so there is a chance that you'll be tempted into spending a little bit more than that. But even if you do go for the SE version, it is still good value for money at £9,780. And honestly, the high-tech gadgetry that you're getting on this bike, if you're impressed by such things, is pretty high-end. Stability control, 3 rider modes, color TFT with connectivity, dynamic lighting, quick shifter, electronically adjustable suspension on the rear, to name but all of the electronic extras from the website. You could potentially take that too far though. If you end up ticking every box and the salesperson is properly good at mind you, then you could be up for about 11.5 grand. Stay strong.
What I'd probably say, apart from the fact that obviously we're on faster roads now and it's becoming more of a joy to ride, it is quite alive, it's really smooth, that throttle engagement is nice too. The only thing I'd level at it in any way shaped like a criticism is that it's pretty clinical. which can be taken one of two ways. If you like to get on and just have something work and you can just forget about it beneath you and just carry on with the ride, that's great. But if you like a bit of feedback from your bikes and a bit more character, there are perhaps other bikes that I would choose. But I think you'd have to get on it and ride it yourself to see if that holds true for you. Such a nice day, such a nice bike, and finally some interesting roads within the south of England. Woohoo!
I really enjoyed my time on the F900. It's a great bike. I can't honestly say that it took my heart, but then it is German, and Germans are a little bit more logical than that. This isn't a bike you buy with your heart, this is a bike you buy with your brain.
Cracking bike, cracking day, more please. Hey, and my friend's back. Hello.
You ride that up and down there, and if you don't come back with a massive grin on your face, then you've got to be dead inside. That is so much fun.
I'm already smiling, that was great fun.
I know, but you're probably pressing all the buttons and stuff on it, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
Whereas that, it's a rider.
Hey, it's still on! Hello!
Thanks for watching, like while you're here, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ra. I haven't done this in a while. Wipe!